Jerome Span. Of course, I'm here to tell you about our sponsor today. And our sponsor is, of course, and will forever be longstanding. Hey, mind you, he don't give me no money, but this is my man's. I got to hold him down. It is Swopes Athletic Recruiting and Scouting. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, Swopes is out here trying to change lives. He's trying to help get these young athletes into college each and every week. Every day he dedicates a lot of time to this. This man has a serious passion for helping others further their education and further their lives in with a lot of great ways. They are on Facebook. Make sure you look up Swopes Athletic Recruiting and Scouting. Swopes is spelled Swopes. It is ran by Mr. Nathaniel Swopes Jr. He is the man in Houston, if y'all don't know. But yes, make sure you go check him out if you're trying to get your kid into school, or hell, if you're even a kid here that's thinking about going into school and you want to try and keep playing, keep your athletic career going, make sure you go check out Swopes Athletic Recruiting and Scouting. He is the man that is going to help you keep that dream going. So make sure you follow them on Facebook, and you can get right a hold of Mr. Swopes there. He will help you get into college and keep your dream going for continuing to play your sports. So again, people, Swopes Athletic Recruiting and Scouting. Check it out now. Help change some kid around you that you know's future, or hell, even your future.
Yeah, Enigma in the house. My man Jay Span, Titan Studios. It's called From the Heart. Keeping it real is what all the song's about. Never selling your soul. Always staying true to yourself. Alright, yeah. Check it out. Money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it from the heart. Yeah, money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it from the start. Man, money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it from the heart. Yeah, money.
And welcome back to your favorite weekly sports show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is ITC Sportsball, and I am your man, Jerome Span. Of course, the pretty face on ITC. Don't you forget it, baby. We know we've been off for, 2 weeks. But, hey, look, we tell y'all every time it get warm, it's summertime. We know we're trying to touch grass, baby, okay? That's what it is. So we apologize. We know y'all missed us, but we back. We about to be back on the weekly stuff. We got a lot of stuff to go over. So you're going to see us every week from now to the end of this season, and then we kick off our new season with the start of the football year, okay? So just be ready, people. We back, okay? I'm sorry. You know you missed us. But I'm here, of course, with that hot take spitter, the man who rips like Dylon spits. He is the modern-day Ali on the microphone. When he steps into your home, all your ladies are gone. Here's that man.
You know, it's your boy Mase here, always with the hot takes, ready to go. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And of course, our boy Daryl, he chose to take the week off. He may or may not join us, but hey, like we said, people, hey, we touching grass, okay? So sorry, okay? We got lives too, baby. We love y'all. We got lives too. That being said, we got to get this train rolling here because last night, Mase, my boy Messi came out and said, hey, hold my beer, baby. Let me show y'all something real quick. Because he came in his first appearance and put in a beautiful top left corner free kick goal for the win. Messi is down at MLS. Them tickets is outrageously priced everywhere. If you try and go get, look, people, we just tell y'all now, you can try and go get them on the secondary market, you paying at least $500. I'm just telling you now. Me and Dirty Dave, shout out to Dirty Dave, was trying to talk about going to the Chicago Fire game. I promise you, people, before he officially signed, them tickets was like $2 something. But you could get like 2 good seats for like $2 something. After he signed, 1 seat was like $500. Nah, baby, I ain't doing it. I love
the average ticket price for an Inter Miami home game right now is $433. That's the average. So that means them low seats probably running around $1,000, or probably a good $1K for them to be on the grass.
You see what I'm saying? So, people, I love Messi. Y'all know that's my favorite player of all time. But now, bro, I ain't paying that much. I can't do it. Can't do it. But, Mase, to the point we're talking about here, he's in MLS right now. How you feel this impacts MLS overall?
I think what it's going to do is it now puts the international eye on MLS, because it's not we could talk about these players' age and all that stuff, but Messi still we might have an active MLS player win the Ballon d'Or award this year. So I mean, that gives you, that just tells you right there, its impact goes far beyond just bringing a soccer superstar to the sport. Like you can legitimately have somebody here that they have to consider for major soccer awards up until he decides to retire. Because I mean, nothing says he's going to slow down. I mean, this is I'm fairly certain he takes care of himself. Soccer's just kind of easy to him. I mean, I mean, he can do that at any point in the game.
Look, what's wild to me is there was a Barcelona documentary. I think it's on Amazon, I want to say. So I watched it, and they really brought up a great point. Part of his greatness is he don't really waste energy, bro. Like, you know, a lot of dudes, they just go out there, I'm running, and you know what I mean? He don't do that. It's like when he gets the ball, that's when he's like, all right, I'm gonna turn it on. But it's like just BS and acting like, oh, I'm running after the ball. He don't do that, bro. He said, no, I'm gonna explode when I got time, and I'm gonna take advantage of it. But you are right, though. For the first time ever, MLS has an active player who could literally win the Ballon d'Or. And I mean, look, if we're being real, right? He won the World Cup. He still had a good year at PSG. Look, this is a taste of what's about to happen over the next couple months. Just wait till Busquets, him, and Alba and Iniesta all actually get worked into that lineup with these other guys. It's going to be filthy.
And the boys are really getting back because they're trying to go get Suarez too. They're trying to get the boys back together, dog.
Hey, they out there doing that Aaron Rodgers special, baby. Like, hey, I'm playing here. Come bring my boys in too, baby. Come on down.
They're bringing the boys back to town.
But at that, we know, yes, Busquets and Alba were both at like the end of their careers, right? But realistically, if they just wanted money, they could have probably found some European teams that was like willing to pay for their services and say, hey, come over here and get this money. I'm sure Saudi Arabia probably threw some money at them boys too and say, hey, wait a minute, you still got some name cachet. Let's give you some bread. But they didn't do that. They said, we coming to America. We're going to play with Messi. We're going to play in the MLS. That does a lot in my mind for them because previously, the thing I think me and you have talked about, we both enjoyed the league, but it had always felt like a kind of a retirement spot for all these old stars. You know what I mean?
They were no longer wanted in Europe. If they wanted to get another year or two out of their career, if they were trying to get retired before they were ready to retire, this is what they did. But now this one right here seems like an active choice from multiple guys that can give you minimum 2 years, excellent gameplay.
Yeah, like the way I look at all of that is like, hey, the MLS has finally figured out a way to make it interesting here. And I think what's going to happen for Messi is that the numbers for American soccer are going to spike now, right? And what that's actually going to do is that's going to help everybody in the big picture, right? That's going to help the British Premier League. That's going to help the Spanish League, the German League, the Italian League. Why? Because all of these are broadcasted in America at this point. But they need the American viewers to get on board. And what's the best way to do this? MLS is doing this at the perfect time of the year, Mase, right? Football ain't front of the mind yet for everybody, and you're dropping one of the world's biggest stars into your sport when nothing else is really hot. Baseball, there's nothing that's really been that interesting outside of Ohtani, right? So nobody really cares about baseball yet. I mean, it's got to start getting a little bit chilly outside for people to start caring about baseball. The seasons, I'm a baseball fan, been a lifelong fan. The season has been boring to me. There hasn't even been great stories. Last year, it was awesome watching what Judge was doing, but I'm going to be honest with you. Outside of Ohtani, there's nothing there for me. I don't even see anything. He's far away, walking away with the MVP. What I'm more interested in right now is watching what MLS is going to do here with Messi, because this is amazing. All that being said, Mase, while we're talking about soccer, we got to talk about our ladies that are going up, trying to do a three-peat here, man. Something that you really don't see in
it's
world
never
football.
been done in men's or women's. There's never been a three-peat World Cup winner.
So the Women's World Cup has started, and last night the women's team came out and they most definitely asserted their dominance. They showed that they are still playing at a high level, and they have got they got the team that can win a championship here and make it a three-peat of World Cups. My question for you is, Mase, there are a lot of other teams, though, coming out looking really good. I mean, like Spain put up, 7 in their first game?
Yeah.
England came out looking pretty good, like they were still ready to play. There are teams now. I don't think the gap is so big anymore, right? I think the gap maybe in the first World Cup was like here. And then the second one, it's like here. And now the gap is like here. You see what I'm saying? It's like we're really seeing a lot of really competitive teams. How do you feel this World Cup end up shaking out for the women?
I think this is going to be a real test because they do have a fair amount of young players that are in. I mean, we have some of our vets who are new moms, injuries, and all those things that it's just life, you know what I'm saying? So younger players have to step up. They looked real in sync at times versus Vietnam, but you could tell that some of the new players didn't know where the vets wanted them to be in certain attacking situations. So it's good that they came up against a team that really wasn't a match for them early on. I think they'll run away with their group. But like you were saying, that gap is small. I mean, you even look at Australia and Sweden as teams who have some bona fide stars on their rosters. So this is going to be very interesting, and not to mention France as well. They're a solid team as well. So that I'm looking at about 5 to 6 teams that can give the U.S. a very hard time or beat them if they're not at the top of their game.
So 2 of the big takeaways that I had from that game last night. One, I think one of the most important things, Rose Lavelle looks like she's back. Like Rose looked like she's back to herself. We need her to play well. I know there are a lot of really, really talented players on there, but she's like one of those. You know how Busquets was for Barcelona, where Iniesta and Xavi were getting all the praise, but he is just as valuable, and without him, it doesn't work. She's one of those guys, one of those players for the women's team. So I'm glad to see that she's back. But I would tell you this, Imagine, you get 28 shots on goal, ladies, y'all got to finish better than that. That was unacceptable. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Mase. That was because I didn't watch the full game. I kind of forgot that it was on. I turned it on, and I'm seeing all these missed opportunities, and I'm like, you can't. I understand that's Vietnam, right? It's outrageous. You guys are more talented than them. But the team that I know that has been able to consistently win World Cups and at least
put at least 8 out there.
Exactly. That team steps on Vietnam's throat and says, it's over. You have 0% chance to win this game. Y'all might as well just sit here and enjoy the show we're about to put on for you. So that finishing has got to be better. Unacceptable. Mase, 20. You outshoot a team 28-0 and you don't have 8 goals on there. That's crazy. And I understand Vietnam. Shout outs to Vietnam's keeper. She played great. Right, like she did. She was making some great saves yesterday. But again, any team that is a true championship team, you get 28 opportunities, you need to be putting up a lot of goals, plain out and simple. Because it's one-way traffic.
Like I said, I think the group that they're in is going to allow them some leeway. But after that group stage, you running against killers. You running against the Englands, the Spains, France, Sweden. I mean, March is still playing, bro. Like,
yo, she's such a goon. I can't believe she's still playing.
I can't believe it, bro. She's got to be in her 40s now. She can give you a good 25 minutes.
Marta is 37.
37. Okay.
And she's still out there.
She can give you a good 25, 30 minutes. She can give you 30. She can come in at 65 and make something shake.
Exactly. It's wild. It is so wild. Like, because when I first started really getting into like watching the women's national team, Marta was still like at the top of her game and she was like a young superstar. And now she is the old head out here still balling. Like, yo, this is crazy. This is nuts. So it is wild to see her out here balling. But as far as this makes, I think we both have confidence that they can win the World Cup in three-peat. But if you were to pick 2 or 3 teams outside of USA that you think can win this tournament, who are you going with?
It's not a far-fetched to say that England or Spain have just as good a chance as the US to win this thing. I've been slacking a little bit on keeping up with the women's game as far as like club soccer goes, but I can tell you right now, Spain and England have some bona fide ballers on their roster throughout the world, balling out for various clubs. I see them being just as good this year. I said, especially with the young additions to Team USA, I think Spain and England have just as good a chance to win this World Cup as USA does. Possibly on the outside looking in, trying to scratch at the door, you got a team like Sweden and France. But yeah, man, I think there's three top dogs right now and a few other teams that can get lucky.
So for me, the only other team that I truly feels like has a chance is Spain. I think that team has came together over the past few years. They steadily improved, right? They've been consistently getting better and better and better and better and better. And I think that they've hit, sometimes we come into the World Cup, Mase, right? And they may not be the most talented team, because if we're talking talent, I still think that England is a more player for player. I think they're still a more talented team, right? But I think they're just clicking at the right moment. Like when that hot playoff team, hey, we hitting on all cylinders at the perfect time. I think that's them this year. So they're the one team that I really look at. My problem with England, and I know there's probably going to be some people that are like, how could you not think that England really have a shot? I don't trust them in big moments. I just do not trust. I've watched that team in quite a few big moments crumble, and I can't trust that. I know that may not be fair in some people's mind, but in my experiences of watching them in big moments, that they just don't seem to get. It's just like the men's team, man. It's in England. They got all this talent. You be like, man, they should be able to do something. They should be able to make something shake. And then what happens? They just crumble in a terrible moment. And next thing you know, their newspapers over there talking about the whole team. Like it's wild. So that's why I can't trust them. So outside of USA, I really do think that Spain actually has a really good chance, because they're clicking, man. And when a team is clicking like that on all cylinders, it is hard to pick against them, especially in the World Cup situation. I don't know how anyone can necessarily say that, hey, that's not fair to pick them, because I don't want to be disrespectful, right? When I talk about talent, I'm not saying that they don't have talent, but I think that like if we're going talent wise, it's like USA, then it's like England, and then Spain is like right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a big gap if we're talking pure talent, player for player. And also, there's something about a team that has a big chip on their shoulder, and it seems like them Spanish players got a real big chip on their shoulder, bro. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of this World Cup. for those that don't know, it is being broadcast in reasonable times for us to watch here in America. So I would suggest that you get yourself in watching some of these games. You're going to have some, France plays tomorrow. The games earlier have already taken place, right? We're already past those. They're early morning games, but tomorrow we've got Sweden, we got the Netherlands playing, we got France playing. There are still some very good teams that are going to be playing. So I would advise everybody to hop on board here, enjoy this. I think Mase would probably agree with this. I've watched and enjoyed watching every women's World Cup as much as I've enjoyed watching every men's World Cup. They are just, the level of soccer is always stupendous at these things every time.
And plus Queen Petty out there, bro. Listen, dog. As long as Queen Petty out there on the field, I'm with it. Alex Morgan, we love you around here. Queen Petty is always the welcome in my heart. I need her out there. Listen.
Yes, sir. Hey, look, if you asking me currently who's my favorite player on the team, it's her.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely
without a doubt. Queen Petty is top notch on the team right now.
Hey, look, me and Mase are nice guys, but we do appreciate a little bit of Petty. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, when she hit the tee on.
Oh, one of the best celebrations ever. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Oh man, yes, that's why she has our girl. So yeah, Alex Morgan is our girl here for ITC. Let me tell you that much. But ladies and gentlemen, each and every week you hear some things that drive you a little bit crazy, that might be a little bit wild of a story, that get up in your brain and drive you a little bit insane. Well, our guy Mase is here to tell you about what some of those stories are each and every week. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another resounding edition of your favorite segment on the show. Uh-oh, the lights that went red. This is Mase's Madness.
Listen, man. I'm sorry to report to y'all that Captain Ron is losing his mind. I think we're at like DEFCON 5 now, because I'm still trying. Where are Captain Ron? Where are Black people's 401k? That's what I want to know, because all that hard work and labor that we put in, we got nothing out of it. So I need some. I need to know who is funding that, and how do I tap into that? Because somebody related to me was working out there and didn't collect their checks. So there's some checks out there that need to be collected. Where do we get those from? Where do we get those from, Captain Ron? I want to know. Because apparently, whenever if we're our labor and duties, if you have duties on the job, that usually means you're getting paid. So where that check at, Captain Ron? Because it's hard out here. Need my money. I can't believe this. I can't believe Captain Ron really going. Slaves had labor getting done with their duties. That's what we call it, though. Laborers. They're not slaves anymore. They were laborers.
And I quote, Captain Ron said, they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life. Nigga, what?
Doing things later in life? What? Captain Ron, how in the world are we going? How do those skills translate when Black people couldn't own anything or buy anything to use said skills for the next 100 years? How does that work, Captain Ron? Explain. I need to know because this is wild. Can't even. Apparently, by next year, slavery gonna be out. The word slavery is gonna be slashed out of the entire. At this point, they just might as well just call them indentured servitudes. I mean, that's where we are. I think that's where he trying to slide that in there. Indentured servitude. That's we taking slavery out of history books at this point.
My question for you is, are you worried that Dead Leg Greg is gonna try and up him?
Yeah. They're in a perpetual fight to see who can out racist the other. Greg in the lab right now, boy, he over there weird. Greg is over here trying to. He got to figure something out. He's like, bro, I can't be outdone. Yeah, Greg about to do something. Hot Wheels about to do something wild because of this, man.
Oh goodness gracious, yeah. Oh well, man. You ain't lying.
And I didn't even get to the good part. Apparently, we have apparently it's not okay to fight back, according to Captain Ron. Because if somebody run up in your house, drag you out of there, beat you half to death, and your partner come over, smack him upside the head, it's your partner's fault that you got beat up. And to explain that to you better, apparently, when we talk about these race massacres, because we know they happened, let's not be foolish here. We know they happened. It is explicitly said that that it must be taught that the black people did something to cause the white people to want to harm them. On top of the fact that maybe a few white people got theirs in the process. I don't know about you, but like I said, you run up in my house, try to drag me out, beat me up, I'm gonna have to fight back. What you want me to do? Just take my L and move on? Sorry, massa. I didn't mean it. What?
Look, I'm a pacifist by nature, but you test me, it's on. You run up in my house, the rules is off.
So the two in just a few examples. DC riots, I think it was like 1920, something like that. Started because allegedly a black dude hooked up with a white woman. Now allegedly, because we don't know, it was 100 years ago, but we know jungle fever. We know white women get jungle fever, man. We know how this work out. We know how this work out. But anyways, allegedly can't be proven. That's the reason why white people went to DC and started tearing stuff down, was because one of theirs got by a black dude. So I mean that I'm not getting how we have to say that it's the black person's fault. What? Like the white people were just protecting their own in some sort of way. Like what? I don't get it.
It's kind of wild, Mase. They trying to hit everybody with these eyes on my shirt and be like, let's rewrite history. Y'all don't remember anything.
It's almost as if there are bigger things at play here, and Captain Ron is just a guinea. Him and Dead Leg Greg are just the guinea pigs to see who can get away with the most stuff. Like how much stuff can you get away with before people just really start hating you? Because this is getting out of hand. Captain Ron don't care nothing about Florida. He about to run for president. He don't care what happened over there. He running that place down into the ground, man. It's outrageous. I just can't. Oh, nice of you to join us, low elo janitor.
Hold on. Before we exit this segment of Mace's Madness, I do just want to say one thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the craziest mother guy I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there is nothing she can do that surprises me at this point. Nothing.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I
the
think
craziest person ever.
This was the pinnacle of her just outlandish behavior, though. So, do
you want to tell him, Mase, or
go ahead, give him the goods, man. I don't laugh too much.
Look, I'm gonna just say it this way, okay? Because I know some of y'all listen with your kids, but Hunter Biden had some pictures that was him and a lady together in a compromised position, and in a hearing that they was talking about some IRS stuff, Marjorie Taylor Greene decided she needed to bring up Hunter Biden and put up his naked pictures live on TV in the middle of a live hearing about the IRS.
I'll say it slower for you. In a hearing regarding the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, she had the audacity. I'm not even gonna call it the audacity at this point, because at this point it's just like second nature to her. She had on a whim, decided to bring up Hunter Biden's personal affairs, talking about the IRS. Now you might be asking, maybe Hunter Biden is the director of the IRS. Nope. Maybe Hunter Biden had committed the biggest scandal the IRS has ever come across. Nope. Hunter Biden probably can't even spell IRS. I don't know, man.
He's dead. He's dead. This is the worst part. She's literally dragging a dead dude through, like, his name through the mud. Like, it's so. Look, something is really wrong. Look, we're gonna end the segment here, and I'm gonna just say this: something is really, really wrong with people that are down for supporting someone who wants to just love dragging a dead man's name through the mud. When I ain't saying the dude was the greatest person on the face of the planet. He was a flawed human being, like a lot of motherfuckers out there. But bruh, on national TV, you up here putting his nudes up? Nah, bruh, this is too much. Too much. It's too much. We done went too far. We went way too far, America. Look, I'm not a conservative by any means. I believe people should live their life how they want. Something has went too far here when motherfuckers is out here covering up their tracks by showing nudes of somebody in a hearing about the IRS. Each and every week, ladies and gentlemen, there's stories that drive you crazy that you be like, is this really real or are we in the Matrix? Ladies and gentlemen, each and every week, we bring you those stories here and let you know that this is some crazy stuff that is happening in America, and we need to get it right. This is basic madness.
We need the chosen one to come destroy tear this down and start over again, because this is getting out of hand. Listen, Neo, dog, Tom Cruise, we need you, bro. Keanu Reeves, we need you, dog. We need both of y'all to get together. We need the chosen one, and we need Tom Cruise to use his witchcraft to change this up, because this is getting out of hand.
Oh, yes, but he decided to come grace us with his presence this wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, he is ITC's resident troll. He is that dude that sees a fire. He says, I got that gasoline and gunpowder. What's happening? If you let him into your brain, he will drive you insane. He is that man. Daryl.
Let me talk to you.
I like it. But since he's dropping lines out here that come from one of our favorite entertainment products, and that is, of course, wrestling, we might as well ask Daryl, how are you feeling about what went down at AEW Blood and Guts? Now, look, we know that they just some of it was absurd, right? But what was your overall feel on the night, right? Because essentially this is their big free pay-per-view card that they're giving to people every year, right? This is the one for them. How did you feel about what they presented to everyone?
They presented one good match for the fans. To give them a little bit hype. Was probably the NJF Adam Cole versus Sammy Guevara and Garcia. That was probably the only good match they actually produced on that whole night. Second match with Hook versus Jack Perry. This wasn't even. You know what? I think this team have as much substance than having Orange Cassidy on the card.
Hey, now, hold on. What do you call Orange Cassidy? You don't call him Orange Cassidy. What you call him?
We call him Pockets that slingshot drop kicks. That's what he does. I never see it.
You call a grown man Pockets. That's messed up, bro.
Hey, you already know the match is already almost over once he puts his hands in his pockets and you see a slingshot freaking drop kick. You already know the match is almost over. That's the cue. It's like, hey, roll it. Like every single time. But when it got to that 5-on-5 Blood and Guts match, let's be clear. AEW been out for I think it's 3 years now, right? Is it 3 going on 4?
About 3 years, yes.
Okay,
A little bit
so
over 3, I think.
We have seen 3 Blood and Gut matches. Jericho.
You know what, Darren? Actually, you're right. We'd be approaching year 4 because come January 1st of next year, it will be officially 4 years. So yeah, we're a little bit over 3.
Every Blood and Guts match has been gimmicky at the end. Someone does something that's totally against the whole darn match and makes someone submit or give up. That's the whole thing. But with this match, we already have a discuss with just dealing with blood. And this is AEW's thing. It's just about someone bleeding and what crazy thing can we do in the match or a crazy spot that we can actually do. This match is literally, to me, I see blood and I'm sick of this match in my guts. That's what this was. It wasn't this wasn't like, oh, blood and guts. We're going to go hard. We're going to go ahead and do the best wrestling that we can with 2 rings. This is like a budget War Games with a cage. This is what this is. A budget War Games with a cage. We constantly have people coming in one by one until the whole thing is like, oh, and then let's have the announcers try to give you fake hype. Now the match can finally begin. Well, everybody been beating themselves and doing dumb spots in there. So yes, I understand. But when it comes down to John Moxley, I'm tired of you bleeding. I am tired of you becoming the new Jack in AEW. Because I respect New Jack. I have grew up with New Jack. I have been watching Extreme Championship.
You better respect New Jack because he'll take you out.
I have been watching Extreme Championship Wrestling before it touched WWE. And when they were bleeding, that was actually real blood, and they weren't gimmicking this blood. If you got hit with a staple gun, you got hit with a staple gun. That's real life. You will bleed. Yes. But don't put a bed of nails in a match that looks sharp as hell. If I stepped on it, I will freaking have my foot cut up. No. We're over here laying on a bed of nails and only having 5 puncture holes in my back. Then try having botched spots. So oh, this guy almost fell on Moxie while he was over there still trying to sell the bed of nails. I was already getting sick of that. Then we're doing horrible tag team super kick freaking spots in a corner. Sorry, Young Bucks, you have used this so much. It is embarrassing that y'all can't even work a real match without having half your indie gimmicks in a match. I can't stand it. And while you're introducing a character and a wrestler that nobody really knows unless they have watched New Japan, it's really confusing for the actual casual fan. You have no story build up. It's disgusting. Like, if we could build up Jack Perry and we do not like Jack Perry, you can do at least some type of work and build up somebody in this match. We've been looking at a rivalry that does not make any sense. This is what you give us. You give us Blackpool Combat having a rivalry with the Elite. Then you change people into Elite to have a match against Blackpool Combat. Then you go farther back and you give that garbage 7 series of a freaking tag team match, triple trios tag team match, and try to bring that back storyline. They even have Pac in this match. So it's just like, you're not building up nothing. You're just building up scenarios that just make sense, but it's not a build-up. You know how to build a story shit? I tell you this, I could read Go Dog Go and it'd probably be a better storyline than this wrestling match. At least the build-up at the end of that Go Dog Go is that they had a party at a tree. They were just traveling the whole book. I'm sorry. If we have to go to little kid books and they can make a better story than what AEW is putting out to me, I don't know. But I tell you this. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing of a wrestling company. This is embarrassing at all, period. Because at the end of the day, we're just going out and booking a bunch of nonsense. We are making supposedly the secondary promotion that is supposed to have some type of running against WWE. I feel right now, and this is a feeling, that Impact Wrestling has a better storyline than AEW when they have.
Oh Lord. Oh,
so
man.
you chose violence today, huh?
The violence is what I always.
You decided to come up here and just let the flamethrower go today, huh? You just
yes.
But that flamethrower is not out yet. John Moxley, we're going to go back to you again. We do not. I do not believe you are bleeding anymore. I believe you are razoring, and you are razoring pretty obvious at this point. I don't believe half the times you get hit with anything that's metal or a line of a ring corner or a steel cage, you're not bleeding. I'm sorry. No one's doing that much damage to your skin. Your skin does not have the Nate Diaz effect. I'm sorry. That's only one person I will believe that will bleed instantly. John Moxley, you need to stop bleeding. You need to stop giving out all your blood on the mat, thinking you're doing a Terry Funk. You're trying to Terry Funk. You think you are how would I say it? The gift of pro wrestling, of extreme wrestling. I need you to stop. There's no words that we can give the Elite, because the Elite will do anything they want to do, and they're stupid, and they are a gimmick, and they are as protected in this company as Orange Cat.
Before you move on, I would just like to bring these quotes to you fellas here and see how you feel about this, Daryl. In his interview with Sports Illustrated, this is his direct quote. He said, "I have a whole dissertation on my theory about blood in modern wrestling. Do we have time for that?" He says, this is a combat sport. College wrestling is a combat sport too. They have blood timeouts to patch it up. The lowest prelim bout of a UFC card or a boxing card, somebody might have a little blood on their elbow or blood coming out of their nose, but they're not selling a blood sport. It's not. Tune in for blood, tune in for glory. It's part of the aesthetic. It adds realism. Here's where it's like, yo, shut up. Sometimes when I don't even want to, but I only know one speed. That's with my foot on the gas pedal. And if we're going to do something, let's do it. That can be detrimental when it comes to negative things like drugs or alcohol, but that's my mindset. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it. When it comes to blood, it's just going to happen sometimes. Like I said, it's foot on the gas pedal. Some people say this is just a random match. Why is there blood? I heard that last week versus Tomohiro Ishii, he's one of the greatest of all time. I'm not going to let that moment slip by. I'm going foot to the gas pedal. How can I not? And then I hear I can't have a good match without blood. Okay, then. You may have made my argument for me. I'll do it every time. Nigga, no, you missing the whole point, dummy. The whole point, dummy, is we trying to tell you is that you a one-trick pony at this point, and your one trick sucks. Don't you understand look, Daryl, they was protecting people from headshots when he was in WWE. Did he just lose all his marbles when he went on this independent run when he was doing these death matches? Like, what is wrong with this man? Does he not understand anything? I'm not a wrestler, but I know more about the wrestling business than to say some dumb like that.
This company does not have the same protections as WWE. WWE definitely do not allow power drivers, and these power drivers be looking farly rough every single time I see one. That is a crucial thing to the wrestler and the safety. Your neck should not be in a predicament that it can be injured or set you out for long periods of time. We already are seeing the full benefits of doing these unsafe matches. I will say Brian Danielson, whatever you want to flip the name, he's injured to the point that he really can't do anything at this point. He has to be on the sidelines because the dangers of this way and this type of wrestling it's not good. And Moxley is promoting something that should not be a thing, because it's all about wrestler safety. And these people have families, these people have lives, and we just don't see that type of protection anymore in this company. And at this point now, it's just like, let's look at Dynamite. Dynamite is the elite Jon Moxley budget blood show at this point. While we look at Collision, and why people are liking Collision, because it's more about wrestling, it's more about fans, it's more about understanding what you have here, what stars you can bring out and highlight them for. Like, I can't remember the last time we had a Dynamite that we actually enjoyed a Ricky Starks match. But when we watched that Collision against CM Punk, we didn't know who was going to win. We thought, hey, we could say, hey, CM Punk got a winning streak, but they threw a freaking wrench in your TV and said, hey, Ricky Starks won the Owen Hart trophy.
Yeah, you know why? Because Phil may be an a-hole, but he actually is a real professional wrestler. And I underline the part of professional in that, because we know that there's certain other people that work in that company that have made it very clear that they are not professionals when it comes to their workplace. So it's because Phil cares about the business. He wants AEW to get more over because it helps the business. These other guys, they just want to extract as many resources as they can from Tony Khan. That's it. Like, look, I appreciate what Tony's doing, how his pay structure, how he does things, how he's giving them like fully guaranteed deals and stuff like that. He's really trying to like get them insurance and stuff. I respect it because I've always thought it was scummy how WWE does some of that business, right? How they label you as an independent contractor to like do all this funny business with your money. I've never thought that was cool, right? So I appreciate so much of what he's doing. But dude, Tony, my boy, I am a lifelong wrestling fan. I've been watching this since I was a child. Dude, your wrestling product is bad with some of your main performers. When you only have about 3 or 4 people that in your entire roster, your roster that we went over that is like enormously big, you have like 3 or 4 people that me as a wrestling fan say I would watch their product. That's a problem, Tony, because 3 or 4 guys do not fill the what now? 5 hours of television that they have every week, Daryl?
I think it's more than that.
Or is it 6? Is each show 2 hours?
Dynamite's 2. I think Rampage is 2 as well.
Yeah,
No.
so it's 6. That's 6 hours of television. 4 people can't fill that for you. There's only 4 people that are actually working stores
people in the industry.
I think this might be the first week you won't see Orange Cassidy unless they show him on Collision.
You know he gonna be on Collision. You know he is. Like, just stop. Like, you know what's going. His pockets is coming out, and he gonna have his hands in his pockets and be
Pockets
like,
and shades. Pockets and shades.
You know what's funny? I think his gimmick would work so much better if he was a heel. It would work better. He could do the same stuff, but it would work so much better if he was a heel at this point. Because I'm a face guy and I just come out, put my hands in my pockets, and I shin kick you and stuff. It's kind of played out at this point.
What will kill his heel is him talking on the mic. That's what it do.
Yeah, you can't have him talking ever. His talking is not good.
So
When he's not just doing the pocket stuff, he's actually a good wrestler. Like, he actually can put on good matches. But then when he gets in that whole I'm doing the pocket stuff, it's like, all right, this is overdone. Stop it. Stop it right now. Had enough. But AEW needs to get their act together for sure. Don't want to get caught in the mud because we have to make sure we keep this train rolling here. And we have to start our football preview, and we are going to start with the East divisions. And we are going to start with the AFC East. And look, people, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's because I know Mase is about to go on a soliloquy about how good his Cowboys is about to be this year and how it's gonna be their year. And you might hear how about them Cowboys somewhere in there, you know. It's gonna be a lot of that, okay? So we're gonna start with the AFC East. Shout outs to our boy Quasi again for your support. We appreciate you, my nigga. I know you are supporting, so we're gonna start with your division there, Quasi. And might as well get right into it. The big story that came out of the AFC East this year, and of course, that's Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Jets. Now, Mase, we're looking at a division at this point that if Tua stays healthy, they have at least 3 good, well, let's say 3 quarterbacks that are above the Kirk Cousins line for a quarterback player, right? Like people, if you listen to the show, you know what the Kirk Cousins line is, okay? If you don't, you'll figure it out. Okay. So you're like, I think they would have 3 guys that are above the Kirk Cousins line, right? So, Mase, might as well start with the Jets. How do you feel that the Aaron Rodgers move and the other moves that they have made are going to actually play out in fruition for them this season?
The Jets was one of the few teams that I saw that had what I would be consider a Super Bowl defense. The secondary flew around. They hit. Both of their corners were top tier. They got to the pass rusher. I mean, you would literally look at times and be like, Zach Wilson's the reason they lost the game. You could look at that roster top to bottom and be like, Zach Wilson is the exact reason they lost that game. And you could do that for multiple games for the Jets last year. And you can't deny that Aaron Rodgers being their quarterback is going to get them at least 3 more wins, at least 3. You can chalk him up for at least 3 more than what they were at last year. If their defense can, they don't even necessarily have to reach that same height that they did last year. As long as their defense is consistent, I mean, the only hole on that team was the quarterback. So, I mean, Garrett Wilson proved himself to be a number 1 receiver. Breece Hall is what we expected him to be at the running back position. The offensive line, if they stay healthy, they're really good. Yeah, man. The Jets did everything they needed to do this offseason to cure their issues from last season.
Yeah, absolutely. So I look at the Jets and I say, you have this year and next year to win a Super Bowl, right? After this year, next year, you don't win a Super Bowl, it's over with. That ride's done. Aaron Rodgers, look, I know people still want to be all on his jock, telling you how great he is. His play has trailed off a little bit in these past couple of years. Even in them MVP years, what was being masked was that what's the coach's name? Goodness gracious, how did I just forget his name? Well, look, he was doing some of the same stuff that Kyle Shanahan be doing, which is, hey, dog, I'm going to scheme you up some wide open dudes. All you got to do is hit him. LaFleur, thank you. He got that same mindset where he like, I'm going to motion this dude. We're going to motion that, da-da-da. We're going to expose the defense, and you are just going to have to throw to an open dude. So there was a lot of that happening. And when you have that with the Aaron Rodgers, right, you see what happens. I mean, that's some of what Andy Reid does, too, as an offense. You see what happens when you put a mastermind offensive play caller and designer with a quarterback that has the talent to make all the throws that you need him to make, right? So offense is going to be better. I think Garrett Wilson is going to have a stupendous year for sure. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. I do have questions on how good outside of Garrett Wilson they are actually at the skill positions, because a lot's been made of him, but let's not forget they also got rid of Moore. You know, they sit in, and so I don't know about these skill positions. Look, dog, like you can try and convince me on Alan Lazard's and all this of the world, right? But you need somebody else. You're gonna need somebody else.
I mean, historically speaking, Aaron Rodgers hasn't needed a second guy. I mean,
hey, how many Super Bowls he won with that approach?
I mean, it like I say, it's not Super Bowl worthy. But
because the last time he got to the Super Bowl, he had Greg Jennings and Donald Driver. So, or was it Jennings and Nelson? He had one of the two combinations.
I think it was Jennings and Nelson, because it was before Devontae.
Or was it?
It was before Devontae.
Or was it Jennings? Oh yeah, it was the combination of Jennings, Cobb, and Nelson. I believe it was. I believe it was them 3. So that's what I'm saying. It's like Aaron Rodgers need that, whether people want to admit it or not. Yes, he's a great quarterback, but hey, I didn't forget how he was looking in early in the season last year without Devontae. He was looking real shaky. There were some of them games that it was like, ooh, baby, y'all is sweet. That's why the Lions came out and bopped y'all head in the last game of the year, because he was like, ooh, this was sweet. But I think we'll see what happens with the Jets. We'll give you our X Factors, but that will start next week. We'll give you all the East Division X Factors next week, because we're just giving you that, you know, how we think these teams are going to shake out. So, Mase, do the Jets make the playoffs this year?
Yes.
Daryl, what you think? Do they make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers after making all this? I mean, I know you're real close to New York. I know you know them New Yorkers, when they make moves like this, they get to talking real greasy and everything. They probably get to rubbing you like Philly does a lot. So I got to ask you, do you think that the Jets make the playoffs?
Absolutely not. Stop it. Stop it. Just because you change your quarterback doesn't mean nothing. You can hype all that nonsense up all day. You think they're going to actually do something? No.
Oh, so you're saying the Jets are the Jets?
Jets are the Jets. Jets are the team that you just get free bets on. That's what you do. That's what you get. I don't believe the Jets are going to do anything. Got an old quarterback. Just want to have a new scenery. And you think he's going to lead that team? He ain't no Tom Brady. Let's get straight. He ain't no Tom Brady. He ain't the GOAT. You know? He ain't going to pull his team to victory to get a championship. What are we talking about?
You right. He ain't no Tom Brady. Because if he was Tom Brady, my life would be miserable even more as a Bears fan. Okay? Thank God he ain't Tom Brady. Thank God. Okay? We got to keep it moving here. Mase, we got to talk about Miami Dolphins because they're probably the next most interesting story here. Everybody knows what it is. We talked about it at length during the course of the season last year. Tua has to stay healthy. We know what everything else is on that team, Mase, right? They've improved in the offseason. They brought in Jalen Ramsey. So we know that secondary that was already really good got even better now because you replaced not Howard. Who is it? Byron Jones. Is he still on the team?
Yeah.
Didn't he get,
actually,
I thought they
might have
released him, didn't they? Yeah. No, okay. No, he's still on the team. Okay. Or was it Howard? I thought one of them.
No. They kept both of them. I think they might have did something with their money, move some money around.
Oh, okay. All right. So the secondary is even stronger, right? At this point, everything depends on Tua. So, Mase, I'm asking straightforward. We ain't got to even get into the details because everybody knows what this team is, right? They were like the team that everybody was talking about last year. Does this team make the playoffs? Yes or no?
No, I think they're going to. This is going to be one of those deals where on paper they look excellent, but somehow it just doesn't click. I think for whatever reason, the defense isn't going to work out. Like, sure, they will have great individual performances, but as a group, I just don't see it because you have three cornerbacks that deserve to be on the field at all times. So are you going to come out and nickel the majority of or is Byron Jones going to move to a safety, but you already have two good safeties? I think at some point it's going to become an ego issue.
They already played a good majority of downs in nickel anyway. So you got to think, for our minds, playing nickel like that doesn't necessarily make sense, but it makes more sense when you start viewing the NFL in this, that more teams are coming out with three wide receivers than ever. So you're playing more nickel than you are. Like, there are some teams that played, I think it was like, I forget who it was, but they played like 56% of their downs were in nickel.
I said, on paper, the nickel can work because Jalen Ramsey I think he is not, I'm not going to say a much better nickel cornerback than he is an outside cornerback, but if you were looking for a nickel cornerback that could also play the run and want to be physical in the box near the line of scrimmage, I think you have the perfect guy for that in Jalen Ramsey. So that could be their thinking. I definitely expect to see him playing the majority of his downs in the secondary, especially in pass situations in the nickel. But like I said, for whatever reason, I just don't see. I don't see them making the playoffs. Or something's going to go wrong. I just feel it.
So here's my thing, right? I want to say yes so bad. I do. But that means I'm depending on Mike White to come in and play great. Because Tua's getting hurt. I love Tua coming out, but I have no faith at all that man is going to stay healthy at this point. It just, his history has shown that ain't what happening. And on top of that, I think they mismanaged everything with him last year. When he got that first one, they should have sat him down for an extended amount of time and let him come back when there was 0% symptoms instead of just being, hey, I can pass the protocol. So they did that to themselves. I think this team is going to miss the playoffs by like a game. It's going to be one of these weird seasons for them where I think it comes down to the last game of the year, and it's going to come down to health. And again, I do not feel like Tua is going to end up being healthy for them. for enough of the season for it to really make a difference. Because look, when he's out there, he has a connection with Waddle and with Hill for sure that you can see. But I just don't think he's going to be out there. I'm not even going to ask Daryl if he thinks they're making the playoffs because I already know the answer is no. I already know. He made his thoughts very clear on the Dolphins over the course of the last season for sure. He called them frauds at one point, if I remember correctly. So I think we know where he stands there. But let's talk about the Patriots here, Mase. It was a dumpster fire last year, okay? Awful. Not the standard that we have ever expected out of a Bill Belichick team, right? Do you feel like they rebound at this point?
I think I'm not necessarily going to call it a rebound because a rebound for the Patriots is playoff. This is plain and simple. They've been the standard in the AFC for so long. So for them to rebound means playoffs, which way you look at it. But I do think they even off there. I think they will be a much better team next season than they were, or this coming season than they were last season. But at the same time, you know what? Not much better. I say much more competitive. I think that the games will be, they're always difficult versus regardless of how you come out and beat them, they always have something for you. But I think this would be a season where they lose a lot of one possession games. That defense has markedly improved. I expect to see that defense somewhere around the top 10, even though I expect them to lose a lot of one-score games. Simply because who's playing quarterback for them and who's catching passes for them? Let's be real here. That offense has been kind of anemic since Tom Brady left, and they have not remedied that yet. So
this is a very simple one for me. Not even gonna waste all y'all time. And Quasi, I'm sorry to say this for you, brother, because I know you stay loyal with us. You be listening. Your team's gonna be awful this year. They're gonna be awful. Teams have figured out Mac Jones is not a good quarterback, and I don't feel like you've resolved any of the lingering issues on offense with the moves that were made in this offseason. I know it's not gonna be offensively. You'll probably look better than what was last year because it's not Dirty Socks Patricia calling the plays anymore. So it's clearly it's going to be better, right? Like, no, it can't be any worse than what was happening with Dirty Socks. Look, we think Bill O'Brien's a clown on this show for how he managed his roster, but we saw his offenses made plays that he knew how to get people open. So that's not even a thing here. But Dirty Socks Patricia calling your plays, that was always bound to fail. We said it from jump. We didn't think that Dirty Socks was going to end up being offensive coordinator. And then when he got named the one, we was like, oh, Bill, you made a grave mistake here, sir. Like, oh, no. So I hate to say it. I think I see this as like a 8-9 season. You know, like because Belichick's defenses are never going to be so bad that they're going to be out of every game, right? They're never going to be that. But for what the standard is that I know Patriots fans are going to expect, y'all about to be in for a long one. Hey, you better start looking at them quarterbacks in college this year, see who y'all need to go out and get because Mac Jones ain't it. And and shout outs to me and Mase. We told y'all Mac Jones wasn't it before that draft, and we was out here looking at all these people like, Hey, just like we told y'all Will Levis wasn't it, and what happened? We told y'all that was just a hype train. Don't believe the hype. And some of them GMs got smart and was like, no, I'm not going to believe the hype. I'm not going to lock up first-round money with this man. Nah, it's too much risk. Too much risk. But moving forward here, we have to talk about the fraudulent Buffalo Bills here, okay? They are frauds. Frauds. They're going to win this division. They're going to win it. But when they get in the playoffs, they're going to lose to either Cincinnati or Kansas City. I already know what this is. They are frauds, Mase. Convince me differently.
I mean, their play hasn't. I mean, what is it? Josh Allen's only won one playoff game in his career. So, I mean, at this point, you can't say much more about him than that. Only thing you can say is that this team is equipped to win. They just haven't. Like I said, I expect them to win the division. Well, I'm not gonna say pretty handedly. I think they'll probably maybe 2 games they'll have over the division or whatnot. But this team really comes down to the health of that defense. If them boys can stay healthy, you have to believe that they can play and beat anybody. But at the same time, they have not been healthy. They don't stay healthy. Somebody always gets hurt. Somebody significant always gets hurt. So injuries are their downfall, and it's probably going to be the same this year as well.
So I am very harsh on this team, and I know that. But that's because I blame all of y'all out there that want to hype up the Bills to me and tell me how much better Josh Allen is than Lamar. It drives me. I will admit it right to your face. It drives me out of my mind when I hear this. Out of my mind. So maybe I'm harsher on this team than I need to be. But also, they haven't proven me wrong. I told y'all last year when they started falling off that when they got to the playoffs, they was going to show you how big of frauds they were. And what happened? They got to the playoffs and showed y'all that they are frauds. Frauds, bruh. You know what they are? They're a regular season team. They're the Phoenix Suns of the NFL with Steve Nash. They're them. They're going to get to the playoffs and choke it away every time. I promise you. Bills is running away with this division. They're the best overall team in this division. Because, look, you still got Josh Allen, and don't get me wrong, he's still supremely talented, right? You still got Diggs, supremely talented. If Von Miller can come back and give you something, you know what it is. Rosal seemed like he was coming on as the year went on last year, especially like by about game 8 or 9, Rosal really seemed like he turned it up from there. He was balling. Mm-hmm. So I think that is, they're no question in my mind, they're the most talented team. And then they added in the tight end out of the draft. What was his name? Mase.
Kincaid, and they still have Dalton Knox as well. So.
Exactly. So I think Kincaid, their offense is only getting better now. But I think they are going to choke in the playoffs. I think it's coming again. I think Buffalo Bill fans, I'm sorry, because I'd love to see y'all win a chip. Because I loved you guys' team as a kid. I loved Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith. Love those guys. But I can't sit here and say that a team that I've watched piss away the playoffs multiple years in a row in the play, I can't have confidence in them. All y'all, hey, Mase, you remember? Oh, if we just changed the rules, the Bills would have got to the conference championship. Blah, blah, blah. And look at what happened. They was frauds in the playoffs, bro.
I mean, so that game in particular, we all knew when we watched that game, whoever got the ball in overtime was winning. We all knew it. Neither defense was stopping the other. Regardless of what happened to lead up to that point, we all knew it. People need to stop acting like the Bills and the Chiefs offense weren't just out there throwing haymakers at each other's opposing defense, and them boys was getting rocked left and right. So,
but again, they let Cincinnati walk in their house and dog walk them in the playoffs. They scored 10 points, Mase. Mitch Trubisky scored more points than that. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like for all this hype that all these cats want to give me all the time about Josh Allen and the Bills, telling me how they better than Lamar. 10 points in the playoffs. 10. That's it. dog walked at home by the Bengals.
My issue with the Bills is that they have no threat of a run game. Now, since Patrick Mahomes has won his first Super Bowl, every Super Bowl winner pretty much has like a bottom half run game, right? Like that's just what it's been like. It's been like 20 or worse. For whatever reason, that's how Super Bowls are being won now. But at the same time, the Bills legitimately have zero threat of a run game. So once you get into the playoffs, once there is 17 plus games of film on your team, if you can't just go out and just hit somebody in the mouth with the run game, gash them for 10, 12 a few times, you're in trouble. And that's the Bills' issue right now. The run game is on the back of Josh Allen, and that is not how you get it done, especially later on in the season. I know Jerome is over there looking it up right now, but I'm fairly certain that since Mahomes won his first one in 17, I believe it was, run games aren't necessarily, like I said, you don't need top half run games aren't getting it done in the playoffs, but at the same time, you got to have somebody that can gash the defense. And
it's not necessarily true, because when Tampa won theirs, they had a top half running game. But I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It can get you to the playoff, like you can get to the playoffs without having a top half run game, but it has to be a run game that when you talk about, because they're not top half in production, but when you start talking about efficiency, you need a run game that is efficient. That's the thing. Like one of the biggest things that happened in the Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs was that run game became super efficient for them in the second half. You know, they started getting 4 or 5 yard plays that they were only getting 2 to 3 in the first half, you know. So you need a run game that is going to produce for you at the end of the day. And here's another reason I would say you also need a run game. Let's turn around and look at what you can do with just play action. Part of why Jalen Hurts was so successful last year, part of why Pat Mahomes was successful last year, Aaron Rodgers, a lot of these guys, you look at a lot of their success. Joe Burrow, too. They use a lot of play action. Look, Cincinnati was not the best running team in the world, but they were efficient. They get the yards when they needed them, you know? So you need a running game. I can't trust the Buffalo Bills because they, like you said, do not have a run game. They are frauds, bro. They don't want to run the ball. And listen, Josh Allen can't be your whole run game. He can't. I'm sorry.
So, like I said, that is my biggest issue with the Bills as a team, is just that they can't throw a defense off. You can't throw them off. Like you can't just come out in one quarter and have your running back gash him for about 10, hit him for another 8 here, another 15 there, 25. Like nobody is concerned about the Bill. If anything, the defense probably thinks they won if he actually turns around and hands the ball off for a play. So that definitely, they definitely have to remedy that before I believe there's any chance for the Bills being successful in the playoffs. So you ain't got to be top half of the league in the run game, but you've got to be able to throw somebody off kilter. You've got to be able to catch somebody off guard and get some chunk yards from time to time.
And take some pressure off of your quarterback, for God's sake, with your running game. Just take some pressure off them. But until I see that the Bills are willing to do that, I'm going to continue to call them frauds, Mase. Until I can see them that they actually have a running game, they are the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash of the NFL. That's what they are. They're just a team that can get up and down. You know what it reminds me of? You remember right after the Rams went to back-to-back Super Bowls?
Yeah.
Right? And then their defense, like after the second Super Bowl, their defense fell off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know why? Because all Mike Marks cared about was going up and down the field in offense. They didn't replace that defense.
Nope.
You know, it's the same thing. It's just they're this team that's got all this hype, and I don't believe in you at all. But we got to keep it moving here to get to Mace's division of the NFC East. So might as well start with Daryl's favorite team, the reigning division champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, last year, me and Mase both told you in our offseason preview that you should be looking for Jalen Hurts to have a big year. We told you that move with A.J. Brown was a big thing. It gave them two dynamic weapons now on the outside. And we had already seen that Jalen Hurts could make it shake in the run game because when we told y'all, when they shifted their offense to an offense that better suited him, all of a sudden they started having success, right? So we've seen what that is. Because, look, Jalen Hurts played great. All of what, 2 plays in the Super Bowl last year, Mase? That man played great. We saw one of the greatest performances out of a quarterback you can get. He just happened to be going up against the GOAT, Pat Mahomes, right? So can't fault the man for that. All that being said, they clearly had some changes in their roster over the offseason. They kept a lot of guys, but they also had some changes. How do you feel that Eagles team ends up doing there, Mase?
I think the losses on defense are really going to hurt that team. I'm pretty sure their entire linebacking group is going to be new this season. People really.
What I read, Dean's wearing the dot too, Mase. Nakobe Dean's wearing the dot for him.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, he's gonna have to ball out because he's replacing TJ Edwards as a signal caller on that defense side for those guys. The addition of Gardner Johnson to that secondary, that was huge for them because now they had a bona fide playmaker at the safety position. He's gone. But the biggest subtraction to that defense to me, which I really think is going to play a huge role, is Javon Hargraves. That one right there. For all the clout that Fletcher Cox got for being great, for everything that they thought Jordan Davis was going to be, but for whatever reason, healthy scratches or just not being productive on the field, whatever the case may be, his play definitely helped that entire defense, in particular Hassan Reddick.
Hargrave was the 3rd ranked pass rusher by PFF in 2022, right, for interior linemen. And his overall 80.1 grade last season was the highest by interior linemen since 2019.
Yeah, so like I said, that move right there is probably how they replace his production is going to tell a lot about their team. Like obviously Jalen Carter, we all believe he's going to be a dog. Jordan Davis, maybe he gets it together this season and gets more PT, more production. But replacing Hargraves is going to be a daunting task, and I believe they might fall short in the middle with that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't see, with their roster constituted the way that it is and where they've invested resources, I don't see where you can reasonably play Fletcher Cox a lot of downs this year. As great as he's been for them for quite a long time, right? He's not – you can't invest that many early round draft picks into defensive linemen if you are not going to play them. You know, I get it that last year you could present yourself the argument and say, hey, we can have Jordan Davis only play minimal downs because we got Cox there and we got Hargraves. We got 2 guys that are certified at their position, right? So I can understand that. But this year, now you're dependent on young guys to give you quality, consistent downs like that combination did for the course of the season. I mean, you're asking a lot. I don't think that the offense has a fall off. I think that they probably maintain at about the same level that they were. Probably have a few more turnovers just because we know turnovers can be weird and fluky. It can be a tip ball here, tip ball there, right? And it can be the difference between you having 5 picks on the year and you having 10. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it with your team, which we'll get to, where literally some tip balls can make all the difference in how your numbers are viewed. So I think the offense is still good, but the defense, I got real questions too, Mase. I don't know. And with all these young guys there, they do still have some old guys in key positions, and it doesn't necessarily bode well for them in those positions. Like your secondary didn't just get younger all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And even at the positions where it got younger, that doesn't necessarily mean better. So we'll see what happens. Got to keep it moving on. Let's talk about that team that everybody wants to hype up and talk about how great Daniel Jones was last year and how superb he was and da-da-da-da-da. Mase, how do you feel this team is doing? And let's just take them for what they are right now, right? It's looking like Saquon might not be there to start the season. So what are they without Saquon Barkley, Mase?
Without Saquon, they're probably...
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Before we move on, Daryl, how do you feel about the Eagles going into this year? We got to ask. I'm sorry. I forgot for a second. How do you feel about the Eagles and their chances of winning the division this year and making the playoffs?
I'm not going to use no feelings in this because I'm biased. Bias. I hope they crash and burn. That's all. You know what? Off topic though. For that stadium alone, I praise all you Eagles fans for spending all that money just for them seats. Because them seats are ridiculous. I can't, even though y'all having WrestleMania this year in that stadium alone, I can't do it. Can't go against the grain. That's all I gotta say. Can't go against the grain.
He didn't just figured out that there's some people in Philly listen to his podcast. They're gonna be looking for him if he go to WrestleMania out there. They're gonna be like, "Hey, we heard what you've been saying about Philly." Hey, I had to run commercials specifically in Philly that week showing Daryl.
You know what? I tell you this: every pay later app will be used if I do want to go to WrestleMania, because I'm telling you right now, I ain't gonna spend my hard-earned cash just to get a ticket for there. Nope, not at all.
Whatever, nigga. Stop being cheap. All right, so Mase, how you feeling about the Giants this year? Do you feel like that they can have a repeat performance? For those who don't know, the Giants roster is pretty much the same. They're kind of counting, especially in their skill positions, on guys being healthier. They did bring in Darren Waller, who, if you saw last year, you don't know if he's got anything left. He can barely even get on the field, right? I hold a grudge against him right now because he was terrible for my fantasy team last year. I hate his guts for that. I don't hate his guts. That's too strong. I just would never, ever draft him on a fantasy team or trade for him in Madden ever in my life because of what he did for me last year in fantasy. So I hold a little bit of a grudge. But so the roster is basically the same. So, Mase, how do you think this team actually ends up doing here?
Without Saquon, 5 wins max. I'm gonna be real with you. We can talk about the running back position all you want to, but Saquon is a true playmaker with the ball in his hands. That he's the big play in that offense. He's the consistent play in that offense. He's the hard yards. He's the big yards. However you want to look at it, that offense without Saquon is going to be anemic. Daniel Jones hasn't really given us any reason to think that he can carry the offensive load.
Look, man, I'm going to say it to you real. Okay? and maybe some people don't realize this because, like, I know there was a lot of hype with how the Giants were playing. Daniel Jones on almost 500 attempts had like 3,200 passing yards and only 15 touchdowns. That is not a franchise quarterback. See, what happened is that he plays in New York, and some of y'all, and if you know any Giants fans, they're irrational. Okay, Giants fans are super irrational. Shout out to our boy JT Base, but y'all niggas is irrational. Okay, because you trying to convince me that you're gonna be okay without Saquon Barkley, with that dude as your quarterback, with the receiving core that you have. You got a bunch of who that is and still in the leagues as your damn wide receivers, and you expecting me to believe that y'all gonna have a good passing game and a good offense without Saquon? You must be in high. Okay, look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. If Saquon Barkley is not signed by week 5, the Giants will be 1-4. I'm saying it to you right now. They will be 1-4. Teams know Daniel Jones is trash, but you know what they knew last year? This nigga Saquon Barkley balling out of control. We loading 8-man boxes, and this man is still over here killing us. We put 9, 10 in the box, and he's still killing us. So the threat is Saquon Barkley. That offense does not work without him. Hey, just like I love JJ, and we'll get to the NFC North next week. Y'all gonna rue the day that y'all got rid of Dalvin. Because look, I'm gonna tell you this much. You trusted Kirk Cousins to throw the ball a lot then. And woo-hoo-hoo. That's not a good look, but we'll get there. But it's kind of the same situation. I think Kirk Cousins is light years better than Daniel Jones. I think we've seen Kirk Cousins in a situation where he had to throw the ball a lot, and he can put up some numbers. He gonna throw away some games, but Kirk can still put you up some pretty good numbers. Daniel Jones, he had Saquon back there balling last year, and he could only throw for like 3,200 yards. And I'm supposed to believe in that? Nigga, please. Giants ain't making the playoffs. Giants are going 7 and what would it be now? 7-10, Mase? Because they're going to find out real quick. Daniel Jones ain't that dude because defenses are going to play him differently this year. And they're going to be like, oh, this is what Dayball wants to do with him. Let's make him throw the ball somewhere he ain't comfortable. It's that simple. Stupid Giants fans. Get out of my face. But before we get to the Cowboys, because I already know I'm going to just hand the mic to Mason, just probably like turn my mic off, sit here and cross my legs and be like, here we go. We got to talk about those Commanders. The biggest thing that has happened for them this offseason is they're getting rid of the clown show of Daniel Snyder. Look, no, all I will say is this. I don't want to like get too much into what their season is going to be, right? Because I'll say it up front. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, right? Because I don't believe in Sam Howell. But no matter what, this season's a win for Commanders fans. You got rid of the problem, the clown, the idiot who would come in telling his GMs and who to sign and who to draft. Nigga, you ain't Jerry Jones. You better get out of here, okay? At least Jerry can, when he do that now, he can say, I got 3 Super Bowls. You ain't even got 3 playoff wins, Daniel Snyder. That's terrible. That's terrible. So, Commanders fans, y'all should just celebrate and be happy the whole season no matter what happens and just be like, yeah, baby, we don't have a clown show anymore. Mase, I don't know how you feel on that, bro, but that's how I feel. No matter what, this is a winning season for them, Mase.
Yeah, pretty much. The biggest issue for them was their management. I mean, let's be real here. Like Jerome just said, man, you got a guy who doesn't put the work in telling everybody that has put the work in what to do. And if you just that, getting rid of that aspect in their organization alone puts them ahead of the curve, because now a team that's Think of where they could and would be if they had somebody calling the shots that knew what they were doing or cared about what they were doing. So yeah, this is a win for them. I mean, on the field, like you said, I expect them to do better than the Giants.
Hey, Riverboat Ron is still their coach, so
I
know what it is, baby.
I expect them to do better than the Giants.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So do I.
But
they at least have a threat at wide receiver, Mase.
Well, two. I'm not going to discredit Dotson as a player. He's a certified baller. We know Scary Terry out there with the best of them.
Please don't re-sign him. Please.
Hey, we know Scary Terry is legit. My man is lethal out there. I expect to see
we could swap out Claypool to Scary Terry, boy.
Hey, man, you out there. Hey, is there a shooting star somewhere around you? You wishing like that? But I expect to see a better team. I expect to see a more competitive team. But the following offseason for Washington, I would expect to see a lot of wholesale changes. But now that they actually are gonna be allowed to make true football moves and not I want this guy, I want that guy, make it happen. I don't care. They don't have that anymore. So this next coming offseason for Washington will be huge for them. So the fans just ride the wave. Don't really look too much into what your record gonna be, because better days are ahead of y'all. Congratulations.
Look, just do what I did as a Bears fan last season. Accept what your fate is, that your team's not making the playoffs early, like right away. Even if your team gets off to a 3-1 start, accept your team's not making the playoffs and that you know that it's a fraudulent record. You will enjoy the season and you will feel like a winner at the end of the year because Daniel Snyder is gone. But we have to take that time now to get into the team that Mase holds near and dear to his heart, the team he loves more than any other team in this world. Oh, Jesus. And of course, it's the team that makes so many people furious in this country because of their fans. That is the Dallas Cowboys. Mase, how are you feeling about the Cowboys this season?
Man.
And for those that are just listening, this nigga done just put on the damn aviators and the cowboy hat. Okay? Can't stand him.
I'm gonna be real with you right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, man. I'm outside of Jerry needing to pay a few people. I'm feeling good. The one thing we know about Jerry, he's gonna throw that money around. So I'm not concerned. I'm just a little like, Jerry, hurry up. Taking too long, player. But you can't knock me off my heel this year. You can't knock me down.
You're right. You're just getting hotter and hotter while you have that hat on, and then the delusion starts gazing in.
You can't knock me down. You see the reflection right now, my ring light? That's the haters trying to get at me, but you can't.
Hey, that's his eyes right now. That ring light is his eyes. How delusion this is right now.
You can't knock me off my high
horse. Can you take him seriously right now? The ring light looks like his eyes through the sunglasses.
Look, as soon as he put on the damn hat, I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with it. I was like, I'm done with this. I know where this is going. He's not going to be reasonable for the rest of the show. He's not going to be reasonable. Like this, I'm going to ask him a reasonable question. Mase, where's the Cowboys going to get pass rush outside of Michael Parsons?
I think it's not just one person, because even if you look at last year, we were third in the league in sacks. So I mean, Well, of course, Mike is Micah, man. We don't need to say much more about Micah is that guy, but pass rush by committee seems to be the way to go. I don't think it'll change this year either. I don't think there will be like another like running mate for Micah Parsons per se, but I do think that as an entirety of our defensive pass rush, I expect us to be near the top, at the top or near the top, the same way we were this past year. So I don't see a drop off in pass rush. I just think that if we're expecting a D-Law or we're expecting a Sam Williams or somebody to show up in the middle and be the secondary pass, be another double-digit sack guy, I'm not really putting too much stock into that, but I can tell you we'll probably have 3 to 4 guys floating right around that 6 to 8 sack range, just because Mike is going to be a dog once again. I think we'll have a lot more coverage sacks. I mean, what was I screaming about all last year with our team?
Anthony Brown.
Exactly. And how did we upgrade Anthony Brown?
Well, you got Gilmore, but he's old now, though, too. Can he stay healthy for you? Are you sure he's going to be able to stay healthy and stay on the field?
I think he'll have a lot more incentive to stay healthy, or a lot more incentive to be out on the field with a little nagging injuries now that he knows his team is actually good enough to win something. So, I mean, it's kind of easy to, I ain't feeling it today when you're 7 and something. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but realistically, he's played in he was hurt for Carolina, and then he played in those games for Indy. Are you sure that you want to bet on that guy?
I'm betting on him.
Okay. So now I have to ask this question, Mase. Kellen Moore's gone. McCarthy's taking over the offensive play calling. How do you feel about this?
Listen, dog. Much more than any player that we acquired over this offseason, our biggest move was getting rid of Kellen Moore. Now, you might say I'm kind of crazy because this offense has put up some numbers, but there are some guys who, I said this before, Kellen Moore can punch, but he can't counter punch. Meaning, like I said, he's got a game plan, and it's either going to work or it's not. As long as Mike McCarthy doesn't call curls on a 3rd and 8, we all right. As long as he's not 3rd and 8, curl, we good. I'm not concerned.
See, this is my issue. He's unreasonable. He's not concerned. Never any concern from you as a Cowboys fan. Just no concern now, huh? Everything's just hunky-dory, huh? Just because Kellen Moore is gone, that's going to fix the whole offense. That's going to make Tyron Smith be healthy all of a sudden, huh?
Even without Tyron Smith being healthy, I do now have faith in Tyler Smith stepping in at left tackle. He didn't, like I said, I didn't have faith in the pick, but he proved himself that whether he's a guard or a tackle, he is good enough to where we're not giving up the cheeks on his assignment. So I'm not. Tyron Smith's health, while yes, I still think that he can still be near that top tier echelon as a pass protector. I don't see that being a concern, given how well Tyler Smith stepped in and played as a left tackle for his last year as a rookie. So him playing the games that Tyron Smith plays, it's pretty much just house money. We're working with house money for every game that he's healthy.
I don't know what else to say to you, man. We'll see if your team can stay healthy. And we'll see if, you guys can figure out how to do clock management in the playoffs, because it doesn't seem to be a strong suit of you guys there. My question on your team, Mase, is does the offense actually get better? Because you have better positions players, right? You got better skill guys. But that doesn't always translate to mean that your offense is better. McCarthy, he might not link with Dak right. They might not be on the same page, bro. I'm gonna tell you something. As a Bears fan who had to deal with a lot of Aaron Rodgers hated how that man called plays. He hated it. Absolutely. Oh my God, he would lose his mind. You should have seen it. You want to talk about demonstrative body language, Mase? I have seen that man cursing at his coach, saying a lot of F words in that man's direction because he called the timeout when Aaron Rodgers was trying to speed everything up and try and get somebody outside. Like, bro, oh my God. Like, he just called the timeout. Chill out, bro. Chill out.
So as far as an offensive skill position goes, I feel much better simply because if you look at outside of CD last year, if you look at what we put on the field, it was piss poor. Straight up. Gallup was coming off a knee injury, probably needed another half season to actually get right. He shouldn't have came back when he did. I don't even remember who the Cowboys received. Oh, Noah Brown. Yeah. The guy that's been a career special teamer all of a sudden was asked to be the number 2 in some situations as a receiver for us. So, yeah, man. Outside of CD, we were like the worst team as far as like receiver separation go. Like we were terrible outside of CD at the receiver position. So I'm already going in feeling good. It's usually that following season after a ACL where a receiver kind of gets back to where he was. I'm not totally concerned about Gallup. Brandon Cooks is productive wherever he goes. I think the same it'll stand true. Brandon Cooks allows CD to play more in the slot because however you think about it, Brandon Cooks is more of an outside receiver than a slot guy. And I think that just bodes well for CD, bodes well for the offense as a scheme because now you can move him around a lot more. Guys aren't just going out there knowing exactly where CD is going to line up, where Brandon Cooks is going to line up. Tony Pollard has seemed to bounce back from the bone. That seems to be healing properly. I don't know, man. I got high expectations for the team, and with reason, because I really can't hate on what we've done in the offseason. I can't be like Dallas should have did X, Y, and Z because they actually did X, Y, and Z. They didn't do the typical Jerry thing, and they addressed what they needed to address. They got it done. I'm going into the season with house money, bro. I expect my team to be really good on both sides of the ball. Especially be good, man. It's just straight up. I dominant in some aspects. So I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm coming in this season with house money.
Whatever, nigga. I ain't.
I will say this: if I was to say anything bold this year, if I had any bold statement, it'd probably be bold by your standards. But Dallas will have the best defense in the league next year.
Can't be the best if you can't win. That's all I'm saying.
Dallas will have the best defense in the league next year.
Are you going to win the Super Bowl?
We got a bet. We got a chance.
No, you see, he wasn't confident enough. That's it. Some Eagles fans are more confident than you.
I don't care about Eagles fans, bro.
They get somewhere. They actually get to the
Eagles
actual main game.
Eagles don't beat us when we have Dak Prescott playing, so I don't really care about what they talking about.
I ain't even gonna start my hate. I'll save it for the season. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it right now because I'll just get in a dumb argument that we can't. They'll just be in circles. So we'll see what happens. Cowboys is gonna make the playoffs, but they're gonna flame out in spectacular fashion again. And then Mike McCarthy gonna get fired. And now Mase is gonna really lose his mind when that happens because Sean Payton's in Denver. He got nothing now.
We don't need Sean Payton.
Oh, I'm sure there's some episodes of Sportsball that would contradict your statement right there, buddy. Mase, tell the people where to find you.
Before I get into that, man, I gotta let y'all know, y'all got approximately 2 weeks to catch up in One Piece.
Who is y'all?
Derek.
Who is y'all?
And our listeners and viewers. We got 2 weeks. Get on it. If you take out work, it'll take you approximately 9 days. So use all your PTO, do what you got to do, get it done. But anyways, catch me on Twitter, funky_stuff09, twitch.tv/SwaggyMase. I'm pretty good at games, so hit me up.
Daryl, tell the people where to find you.
I'm pretty good at games too, but I ain't wearing delusional hats and sunglasses like this guy. But anyway, I'm going to be showing off some Diablo content. We're going to be gaming. So make sure you check in the Low Elo Janitor on Twitch. Call it a day.
At JSpanderman, everywhere you see my pretty face with the ITC logo. I know this is the longest show we've given you guys in a while, but hey, had some things to run out, and it's kind of been a little slow this summer. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was another resounding episode of your favorite weekly sports show, and that is ITC.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, hey, are you kidding me?
Let me talk to you. Yeah.